Hello, and welcome to episode 261 of the TEW Challenge Run. We are here for Money in the Bank. It is finally time. The long-awaited pay-per-view is finally upon us. I'm looking at the results of last year's show, and it's good to know I actually did remember to book a main event of Money in the Bank last year. I don't think I'll have that problem going forward, but it's fine. Oni, of course, won the men's Money in the Bank last year, and the women's Money in the Bank was won by Sonya Deville. Who will etch their names in history this year? One man and one woman. Of course, two very polarizing championship matches. Rising stars Omos and Bron Breakker look to take the gold home. Raw Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley defends against Asuka. SmackDown Women's Championship, Dakota Kai defends against Sasha Banks. And a whole lot more. Cody and Dustin Rhodes team up. Without any further ado, why don't we just get on with this show? We unfortunately start on the kickoff show. I don't mean unfortunately, but obviously we start on the kickoff show, but I mean unfortunately I've had to bump the SmackDown Tag Team Championship out to the kickoff show between Aleister Black and Elias against the Creed brothers because the main show is getting too crowded. So Aleister and Elias defeat the Creeds 13-28. Aleister pins Brutus with a black mass. I'd have loved to have belted the Creeds this early, but I shouldn't. Like, it's not a thing. It's not practical. I need to be built up a little bit more. Obviously, the Creeds down the line, future tag team champions, but right now, they just come out short. And a 75 is a good match for them to be a part of, you know. Aleister did a good job of carrying this. He got an 88, a 75 for Elias, a 52 for Julius, and a 50 for Brutus. Is the end of the kickoff show. Hype video, or intro video even, for the main card, showing off the two world title matches, and then the two most over members of both Money in the Bank match. I've gone for Seth Rollins and Keith Lee for the men, Charlotte and Tony for the women. Will those be the people that pull the cases down? We'll have to wait and find out. We'll have to be waiting for long in the case of the women, because the women's Money in the Bank ladder match opens up tonight's pay-per-view premium live event. For a 79, I will take that, I think. Well, I've got no choice to, but I'm just looking at the performances here. Yeah, that checks out. Cora quite far behind everybody else, but she'll catch up soon, it's fine. So, anyway, 18 minutes 33 this match goes. We got our favourites. We got, obviously, Liv repackaged, member of Balor Club. Alba Fire recently repackaged from Kaylee Ray. Nova Nebula recently debuted. Cora only officially won her SmackDown contract 9 days ago. Charlotte is Charlotte, you know. A lot of potential winners here. Shotzi would obviously do some sort of big dive off a ladder, sent onto somebody ladder bridged on the outside. Probably Alba Fire would probably take that spot. That seems like a spot that she'd take. Good way to write those two out of the match. Then you carry on. You've got everyone teaming up on Raquel, who's the biggest threat physically in the match. She'd get powerbombed through a ladder or something, taken out. And Nova up top, hitting all sorts of dives, but in the end, Nova Nebula, Cora Jade, battling it out on top of the ladder. Cora manages to knock Nova down, and she goes to pull the briefcase down, but then she gets twatted by a ladder by Charlotte to a sea of booze. And the Queen soaks in the booze. She climbs the ladder, and you know what happens when Charlotte Flair climbs the ladder? What? Well, you waiting for me to say someone knocks her off? No, she wins. In 1833, Charlotte Flair wins Money in the Bank. Cora gets a 49, 70 for Nova, 81 for Toni Storm, 72 for Shotzi, 70 for Raquel, 73 for Liv, 76 for Alba Fire, and 89 for the new Miss Money in the Bank. She has been saying that she's inevitable. Her championship victory is inevitable. And now she has the physical evidence to back it up. The Queen, the one thing she's yet to win here in WWE. Feather in her cap. Charlotte Flair, Miss Money in the Bank. Segment Nice and Corbin arrive in Vegas. It's like, this is where my life completely changed 6 months ago. I found my fortune. I became happy here back in January, Nice. You remember it, you aligned with me after that. I bought your services, and I'm feeling lucky. I'm here, I'm the United States champion. Hell of a win that was for me. And it's going to be my big night, I'm going to double my profits even further. And he's like, well, good luck with that, Corbin. He's like, I will. In fact, I want to go do that right now. We're on the strip, the lights are flashing, money in the banks here, Las Vegas popping off. It's time. It's time for Happy Corbin to become Ecstatic Corbin. And then he runs off into some casino. Oh. 84. That's a good match, The WWE debut of one El Generico does not go too well. Ludwig does indeed submit him in 11:35 with a Lotus Lock. Generico, first match in the company, gets an 83, and Ludwig gets a 79. And he now has free range to take that mask that he's been so desperate for. And he does rip it off, which of course unmasks El Generico in the process, and oh my god, guess who it was this whole time. So I've been... every single time I do a save, I think of a fun way to get an El Generico cameo in, because I just think it would be fun. And we've done it now. Ludwig stole his mask. The WWE world now knows why that El Generico mask is so important to Sammy. And it now belongs in Ludwig's lair. But Sammy's got no time to dwell because he is in King of the Ring, He's got to try and defend that crown against Cody Rhodes, of all people, next week. So he's got to stop goofing around with this fake mask on, because in 24 hours' time he's got a fucking huge match. We're back in the casino. Corbin's taking a seat. He's asking for drinks. He's going, waiter, drinks. He's taking a seat. He's sort of surveying the table, thinking about red or black and whatever. And he's just mentally preparing himself for a big night of gambling here in Las Vegas. And then cut to ringside again, and we get our special guest commentator for this match. Heat's Lita. Lita does commentary for Heat alongside Kingsley Queen and Tom Phillips. But she's going to be joining the SmackDown folks for this one, because it's the women's SmackDown Women's title match. And I just thought, yeah, it'd be fun to have Lita on commentary for it, because we do have her on comms. So she can call this SmackDown Women's title match on pay-per-view, get a big pop from Vegas when she comes out. For this 78 rated match. Apparently I didn't have... No, I did fucking set my roadage, it says right there, game. Jesus Christ. Dakota Kai and Sasha Banks go out at 14 minutes 21. And Lita's getting overly excited on the announce table. She starts screaming. She's like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. I love women's wrestling. Yeah, yeah. And then Indy Hartwell sort of hears her. She's like, what are you saying, bitch? What are you fucking saying? What are you saying about Sasha Banks? She's saying she can't get you done, mate. She's like, no, I never said that at all. He's like, well, you better fucking not. You fucking can't. And Lita's like, well, fuck you, bitch. Just gets up and kicks Indy in the face. And obviously Sasha sees this. She's like, what is going on here? Like, we brought Lita out here for no reason, and she just kicked Indy in the face. And this obviously distraction. She turns around, scorpion kick. And Dakota retains 1-2-3 in a 78. I think Lita drug it down, as well as me having to keep Sasha strong. But yeah, it's fine. But very much not clean. Sasha Banks loses to Dakota Kai. And yeah, she's got beef now with Lita. She's going to get in her face after the match. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? You cost me this match. You shouldn't even be out here. You're a has-been. I'm the best women's wrestler of all time, not you. So get out of my face. She points her to the back. She's like, go, run along. And Lita goes to leave. Then she turns around to slap Sasha Banks. And leaves to the back. Sasha's like, wow, what a whore. But big pop from Vegas as Lita slaps both. No, she didn't slap Indy. She kicked Indy. But she slapped Sasha. Big pop. Corbin. He's like a couple of drinks deep. Things aren't going his way. He said, I don't get it. Back in January, I was awesome at this. I became Happy Corbin. It turned my life around. Where's my luck gone? Maybe I just need to keep going at it. He checks his bank account and he sees like so much money's been out, so much money's been withdrawn. And he's like, nah, I'll gamble it. I've got more left in there. I can afford to put another one last bet on. I've got to win eventually. I can't keep losing, right? And he rolls the dice again. And then we fade away before we see what he rolls. Hype video. Big E versus Omos for the World Heavyweight Championship. Should not be a long one, but it should be a hard-hitting affair and a tough challenge for Big E to overcome. The Nigerian Giant has not been pinned in his WWE career thus far. Until now. Big E hoists Omos up for the big ending, drops him down, the ring shakes, Vegas goes crazy, and Big E scores the win to retain the world title. 80 for Omos, 87 for Big E. So with things like this, the whole Omos thing, he is like a monster that is designed just to be beaten by a top babyface. And I thought, yeah, let's give him a shot at the world title. Big E can just beat him as a big, impressive victory to add to his growing resume. You know, he beat Cesaro, Finn Balor. Who has he beaten? Oh, Bob Bolter and Bobby Lashley at Backlash, yeah. Fuck, it's been so long since Raw were on pay-per-view. But yes, Big E, the first man to pin Omos' shoulders to the mat in his WWE career. Still the World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like this feud deserves a video recap. Like, because of the whole Io shit, her concussing Io, putting Io out. This has become very personal very quickly. For me, as well as for Kairi and Utami. But we get the hype video. It's going to be all three members of Toxic Attraction against Kairi Sane, Utami Hayashishita, and their mystery tag team partner. The former, I believe, two-time in this save, AEW Women's Champion, Hikaru Shida, is here. She's our replacement for Io Shirai while Io is recovering. Because it's hit May 2022, which means I'm now available to make offers to all of the AEW people I can. And Shida was available to have an offer thrown into. I was like, fuck it, I've lost Io. Let's just grab Shida and call it a day. And she's got an adequate Joshi Shooter gimmick. And obviously with the big debut, and obviously them being the better team, the three Joshis pick up the win. Shida submits Gigi with a Full Metal Muffler in 13:32. 40 for JC, 57 for Gigi, 62 for Mandy. Shida's got a 73 on her first night, that's good rating. 82 for Utami and an 86 for Kairi. And they've done it, they've avenged their fallen friend. Avenge the fallen, we said. Kairi, Utami and Shida. Whatever I'm going to name this. I'm not going to make it natural stable, but like a temporary alliance between these three. Whatever it ends up being called. Have done the business here tonight. And Money in the Bank. In a respectably good match, actually, considering these two toxic girls aren't great. Corbin. We found out what he rolled. He's running out of money. Fast. He's like, what's going on? Like, I can't lose everything. I need to get a win. I need to get all of that stuff, all that money back, knee jerk. And he's like, well, you've made a mistake here, buddy. Like, you're fucked up. You've got nothing else left on you that you can gamble away. He's like, yeah, it sucks. Like, I've got nothing to give away to. And he looks down at his chest. He's like, how much for this? And Nice is like, bro, that's the US title. What are you doing? And he's like, I'll throw this. I'm all in. I'll throw this in, and I'll win, and I'll get all my money back, and I get to keep this. Just, please, just let me win. Loss. So Corbin has just lost the US title to some random gambler, And he's like, oh shit. Like, and he's like, well, I think you might need to go and tell something to Adam Pearce, because this isn't good, Corbin. So Corbin's Vegas nightlife part 2 Electric Boogaloo not going so well. Not only is he out of money, he's just gambled away his US title. Yeah, baby, there we go. Fucking banger part 2. I can't remember if that's better or worse than the original. I want to say that one got 90. Hold on, I will get the video up right now. For some reason, I want to say that original tag match back at Backlash got 90, but that could just be me misremembering, and it could have just gone a light blue in general.
See, the thing is...
Oh, it got 89. Okay, so this was one worse, but still almost as perfect. This was the Michaels Taker at WrestleMania 26, while the last one was at 25. But in the end, this is an absolute war. Path of the Dragon have been training for this moment. Xia Li's been warning them they're still in great danger. And unfortunately, she was right. Because in 15 minutes and 30, the Fiend pins Carrillo with his sister Abigail. And the Fiend and Willow retain the Raw Tag Team titles for the 3rd time. 85 for Willow, 94 for the Fiend, 85 for Humberto, and an 82 Tozawa, doing the worst. Somehow Humberto's now jumped him in performances. I don't know how that's happened, but look at these ratings. Look at these two fucking kings go. But Path of the Dragon's coronation will have to wait just a little bit longer. I did debate throwing all my plans into the bin just to belt them now, but I'm showing restraint. How many royal families does wrestling have? More than one, of course. Here's Cody's big entrance. Dustin's with him too, ahead of their tag team encounter against the Dudley Davis and Pete Dunne of the Regal Coalition. Once and for all, looking to put this rivalry to bed. Gets an 89. And obviously, the Codester plants Big Dudders with a crossroads in 19 minutes 18 seconds, and in the very city where Cody and Dustin had their legendary match against each other 3 years ago. They get the job done in an epic tag team encounter. Dustin gets a 54, 89 for Cody and for Dudley, and an 82 for Pete Dunne. I'm starting to think Dudley might be better than Pete. Like, I think he's less popular, but he's scoring better. And I've had two people, who I shall not name, so as to not spoil anything, come to me backstage and say they want to put Dudley over, because they think he's got a bright future. Which he does, but just not tonight. Corbin gambles away the US title. I've already explained this segment. I think I must have put an extra Corbin segment in. Fine then, this is just them walking back through the Vegas Strip, Corbin panicking because he's just gambled away the belt, and they're on their way back to the arena to go and explain to Pierce what's happened. Oh, okay then. This is exactly why I just randomly decided Asuka was a number one contender. Well, two reasons, which we'll get to the other one after the match, but Asuka and Rhea just have a random banger, gets an 86. I don't think anyone ever thought Asuka was going to win, so 13-33, Rhea beats Asuka with a Riptide. Make defense number 5 of the women's title. Rhea gets an 86 and 85 for Asuka. But yeah, just a random thrown together women's title match, and it gets an 86. That's good. This could end up being our best pay-per-view ever, but I don't think the main event's going to be that great. So, I should have main evented with fucking Cody's match. The two shake hands after the match, though, because they respect each other and they're both great at wrestling. When the Judgment Day... I'm going to do this about 1 million times. The Grand Jury's music hits. It's the same song. It's the same stable, effectively. Just not called Judgment Day because I've still got the pay-per-view. And then Edge, Randy, Priest, the two hooded figures, the hooded woman, Scarlett and Julia come out. And Edge just points at the ring, and Scarlett and Julia walk to the ring. And they start attacking Rhea and Asuka. because obviously they still have unfinished business with Asuka because Julia turned on Asuka. And then Micah runs out to make the save. She tries to outnumber them, but then the hooded woman of the grand jury runs to the ring to even the odds, drops Micah, drops Rhea, drops Asuka, holds the Raw Women's Championship up high, and then puts her other hand up to her hood. We're finally about to see one of the hooded members of the grand jury reveal their identity. And this is the female member, who is Sonya Deville. And she takes her hoodie off, she has her hair done up, she lets the hair loose, and then drops both Rhea and Asuka with big kicks, holds the women's title up high as Scarlett and Julia pose next to her, and then the boys watch on from the ramp, just nodding in approval and clapping. So yeah, Sonya quit. I think she got a title match against Rhea on Raw, like back in April, and she quit. And she hasn't been seen since. This is where she was. I nearly gave it away earlier on when I was reading out that she won Money in the Bank this year. I was like, oh, where's she going to be on this show? But I didn't even want to tease it at all. But, yep, here she is. Sonya, grand jury, with Scarlett, Julia, Randy, Edge, Priest, and still the 2 masked men. And she seems to have taken aim at the Raw Women's title. Speaking of Money in the Bank, Charlotte Flair, with her briefcases, backstage with Reggie and Jordan celebrating. And Kayla comes up, Charlotte, congratulations. She's like, no, don't congratulate me. I don't need congratulating. This is just expected at this point. Like, I tried to warn you all. I tried my hardest to warn you all. I've been telling you, don't get comfy with those championships because I'm Charlotte Flair and I win championship. That's what I do. I am an inevitable next champion. And now I have this to prove it, so I can become the champion, literally, whenever I want to, at the snap of my fingers. I can take your belt. And then she just sits there and laughs. She's like, I could do it tonight, but, you know, I'm not feeling it, Kayla. These are going to be a long few months. I want the champions to look over their shoulder every single night, knowing that I could be there. The inevitable Charlotte Flair could be there to take the championship whenever she feels like it. Why would I get rid of this case so quickly when I could really mess with the people who are holding my belts hostage? Kayla. These Money in the Banks don't seem to do too well, so I'll take a 77, whatever. It's going to ruin Seth Rollins' Wrestler of the Year push, but it's fine. So a couple of interesting spots I have in here. I did have the Montez Ford Big Frog Splash of a ladder, but he's not in the match anymore. Dawkins is. So I probably wouldn't have Dawkins do that. He might be able to do a dive like through a ladder to the outside and a bunch of people. Riddle will do the floating bro off the ladder like he did in real life because that was a sick spot. Breeze would have he'd bring Wardon out at some point, and I would want Wardon to powerbomb Keith Lee through like a bridged ladder to write him out of the match. But in the end it comes down to 2 men. Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. On top of the ladder. They're fighting and fighting and fighting. Seth slams Riddle's head against the ladder. Riddle gets fired up. He elbows Seth. They exchange strikes on the top. Riddle gets staggered. And then Seth kicks Riddle down. And he's all up there alone. But then he feels someone grab his foot. And he's like, what the fuck is this? He starts kicking his leg. He looks down. Trick Williams is there just hanging off his leg. And Seth's like, what are you doing? Fuck off. Fuck off. And so I imagine Seth's still facing the hard cam side. And then Carmelo Hayes would sneak up while Seth is distracted on the top of the ladder, trying to shake off Trick, and just unhook the briefcase right in front of him. And then when Seth turns around, he just sees Melo dropping down to the floor with the briefcase in his hand, because he's realised he's just messed up his opportunity. But as for Carmelo Hayes, when he shoots, he don't miss. And he didn't miss here tonight. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. 96 for Seth Rollins, 93 for Matt Riddle, 84 for LA Knight, 78 for Angel Garza, 70 for Tyler Breeze, 69 for Angelo Dawkins, 76 for Carmelo Hayes, and 82 for Keith. But this really, while also being about Carmelo Hayes, is also about Seth Rollins a lot. Because I imagine he'd just stand at the top of the ladder, like, in shock. Like, not moving for the entire time Carmelo Hayes are celebrating. He's just there, just head in his hands, like, oh my god, what just happened? He had this match won, but then his own ineptitude, because he was distracted by Trick. And then Melo took it. He took the opportunity, and he's now the new Mr. Money in the Bank. LA Knight debuted a new high spot. Apparently he died off a ladder. Okay, fair enough. And then this is just a segment, Melo on the stage. Him and Trick pointing at Seth, who's still on top of the ladder, like, looking upset and shocked. Seth just staring straight ahead. He's got his head in his hands. He's got his hands over his mouth. He's like, oh my god. I should have had that. But it was literally snatched from right under his nose. Corbin enters Pierce's office alone. Needs decides to sit this one out. He's like, hey Pierce, great show we've got going on here. Pierce is like, how can I help you? Are you here to piss and moan about not being on the show? Like you always are? And he's like, you know what? Forget about it. And Pierce is like, no, you clearly had something to say. What is it? He's like, no, I'll fix it myself. You clearly don't deserve the gratitude that I'm going to show you because of how you've been treating me. I came here to let you know that I'd lost the United States Championship, but I don't care anymore because I'm going to get it back in spite of you. It's like, what do you mean you've lost the United States Championship? He's like, you don't have to know, Pierce. I'll solve it myself. I've not really got a lot going for me anymore, but I'll solve it. Trust me. Pierce is like, what the fuck? Get the fucking cops on the phone. Get our property back, please. Okay, never mind. So what's going on? I don't think the main event's going to be that good. It gets an 88, so it is. It's the joint second best match on the card. It's joint as good as the Path of the Dragon, Wyatt and Willow match. 14-13. Again, we don't have any really tension here. No one thinks Braun Breaker's winning the belt. But this is a great opportunity for him to showcase what he can do in the main event. And he does, apparently, because he gets an 88 rated match. So, Braun Breaker hangs with the big dog in the main event of the pay-per-view. Roman gets a 92, a 75 for Braun. An incredible main event to end an incredible night. Not so incredible if you're the United States Championship, but incredible for everyone else. But then Roman, he takes the microphone. He says, "What have I told y'all? Past stars, smashed them. Present stars, smashed them. Future stars, smashed them." Now, if there's not going to be any real challenges, any real competition, nobody who can actually hang with the tribal chief, then I may take a vacation. Because all you want to witness right here, right now, is the sound of the whole world acknowledging me. Yeah, about that. Daniel Bryan's back. And he comes to the ring, yes, 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 chants in the crowd. He gets in Roman's face, doesn't say a word, just starts slow, not quickly, just slowly. Probably wouldn't even have him do a single yes chant as he walked his way down to the ring. So people are like, oh shit, is this a different Daniel Bryan? And he gets in the ring, he sort of just looks at the belt, and then a slow raise of the fingers up. And we just go off the air with Bryan slowly doing slow yes chants in front of Roman's face as Roman sort of is like, this fucking guy. So yeah, I let Bryan's contract go last year when he left in real life. And he just wasn't getting signed anywhere. AEW have been signing fucking Michael Elgin and the Velveteen Dream, but they've left Danielson on the free agency, and they let CM Punk go to CMLL. So, yeah, I thought I'd rather, you know, if AEW aren't going to have him, I'd rather not have the best wrestler in the world sit there doing nothing. So, he's back in the Fed. And that's a great ending to Money in the Bank. A 97 rated show. An incredible pay-per-view. Again, unless you're the United States Championship, in which case we're going to have to see what happens in the future with you. But other than that, do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for Raw, which will be the start of the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournaments, as we build to King of the Ring on Saturday, week 3 of June, and Evolution on Sunday, week 3 of June, like how the old pay-per-view schedule was in last season. It's a big pay-per-view weekend, the men's exclusive King of the Ring and the women's exclusive Evolution. See you then.